Hello, and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nannette Nocon, and thank you for joining us. I'm excited to have our next guest, who is J.K. Langkans, and she is the founder and president of Words and More. She and I go back a long time from knowing each other in many organizations, but I am thrilled. I am thrilled to have J.K. join us. Welcome, J.K.
Thank you, Nannette. Pleasure to be here.
So I'm excited about your new, not so new, you've had it for a number of years, Words and More. Tell us about it and what it's about.
Sure. So Words and More started back in 1995. I was in Georgia and I was working in a computer center and I was working on my resume. And I worked on it for about 3 months. And when I got it done, I thought, most people don't have 3 months to work on a resume. That might be a service that I could provide to people. Obviously, I wouldn't take 3 months, but I realized that I do have really good writing skills. And that was actually just the idea. It started just right there. And then eventually, of course, it blossomed to embrace more the needs that are in small nonprofits and startups. So that's how it started back in 95.
That's great. That's wonderful. Congratulations. So you've been doing that in tandem with other initiatives or projects that you've done in the community. So very nice.
Yes,
That's
yes. I've included like my fundraising skill, which is part of how you and I connected, um, because it helps small organizations that wouldn't normally be able to hire a big firm or uh, someone to really manage a full scope of their fundraising. So um, by the time you and I met, I think that was in 2015, we did a fundraiser for Jordan Health.
yes.
Well, you and I met previous to that, but you came in and supported me during that fundraiser um, for Jordan Health.
That's great. So why do words matter? I mean, oh, we put resumes together, and a lot of it is electronic now. I used to remember my first resume, what it was typeset, very expensive and elaborate, and then if you have to change something, it's quite a big deal. Why do words matter? I mean, today it's a lot more flexible, obviously, but the content of it is very important. Tell us why it matters. Why do having a proper resume matter for a job candidate?
Well, for in terms of the resume, they're scanned now through a computer program that looks for based on an algorithm that looks for the needs of the company. So the first pass is not even a human being in some places. And if it's not properly worded, you just get kicked out and you go into that big pile of no thank you. But let's take a step back and talk about really why words matter. And I believe it's because obviously words, that's how we communicate with one another. And we really want to be understood when we're speaking with someone. But also, I believe that our words give us the ability to be more creative, more imaginative, for business leaders, whether you're a CEO of a Fortune 500 or a small community startup, you need to be agile in your thinking and speaking and communication. You need to be innovative in your approach to problems and solutions and challenges. You really need the facility that comes through the development of our language. So that's why I believe words matter. I believe words have the power to change things. I remember I had been living in California, and when I came back to Rochester, I started writing grants. And it just really slayed me how you could put some words on a piece of paper and get a check in the mail 3 weeks later. And that is, of course, to help the community, help the least among us. I mean, it's not like, you put the check in your pocket and you go shopping. It's to address the needs in the community, whether it's health or the social determinants or any type of business that you're in, for marketing, whatever you're doing, it all happens with words. Now, your show title is It's About Money, but words are connected to the development of money, the communication of why money is needed and what good it will do, and how the donor can exercise their particular passion through this organization that they decide to help, because the letter that they received or the email they received or even the conversation they had was so impactful, and they were understood, and understanding was exchanged between parties. So that's why I believe words matter.
Absolutely. Because, like you had said, in terms of grants, an organization can be very worthy of that grant, but if they don't express themselves well in the written submission, they may not get the award, right?
Right. And we know how disappointing that is, to be doing good, valuable, necessary work, but not be able to get funded for it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for what you do. So, how do people find someone like you who is there to help them? Not everybody has the skill necessary to compose well, and they may be good at their jobs that may not require a lot of writing. But how do they get their foot in the door with a proper message from someone like you? How do people search for someone like you?
I think most of my business comes from word of mouth. I'm an introvert, so I have very few friends. My inner circle is tiny, but word gets out. I do have a website, obviously, um, but it's generally word of mouth. It's somebody who knows somebody who has heard about the work I did with somebody. And generally speaking, that's how people reach me. I was just at a summer ice cream social a couple weeks ago, and for very, very dear friends. And I was telling them, as the day went on, I thought more about staying at home than going out, because I am really a massive introvert. But because they were old and dear friends, I said, no, that would not be right. Go ahead. And I went out, and in the course of that hour or so, I met a couple who asked, what do you do? And I said, what I do. And so then they were asking for help with their website. So I really believe it's who you know. It's still who you know. Um, I read an article a couple of weeks ago that was saying it's not so much who you know as the only point of entry now, and that who you know used to be kind of a safeguard. It was like nepotism. But then it began. The article says it began to shift toward what you know, and I believe knowledge is power. I do believe that. I think wisdom is better than power, but still, the things that you know are what people pay you to do. And your relative expertise in that area depends on whether or not you continue to have that company, that person, as a client. Now, my clients, for the most part, are very long term. We've been together for years and years and years. We know each other well. We know how we think. We know our strengths and our weaknesses. We know how to balance ourselves as a team. So, the consultant often bears the a lot for the doing and the developing, but the initial seed comes from the client. You have to ask the client, what do you want? What are you hoping to achieve? What do you do? What makes you different? And then the consultant bears the burden of putting that all together in a way that transmit the agency's message in a compelling way, to open up the vaults in the community, of compassion, finances, volunteerism, whatever that agency could best benefit by.
So what is about your work, of course, founder and president of Words and More, that has been most satisfying to you?
It's without a doubt, Nannette, it is helping people. That idea of service for me is very important. I think that's the actual legacy that you leave on this planet, is the people that you've helped. Um, and that can be locally or internationally. One of the things I think I'm most honored to be involved in really comes through Christine and Paul Nablo, who I met back in '95 through Gail Carpel. Christine and Paul are supporting a farm in Ghana, and it helps 10 grandmas who these 10 grandmas are supporting about 100 children all together. You know, life in Ghana is very communal. And so it's not that it's necessarily the children of the 10 grandmas, although they are included, but it's more, it's a whole community. And just from this tiny 3-acre farm and listening to these people in Ghana um, tell us about how they live and what their strengths are, what their culture is about. We have helped them develop a 3-acre farm that feeds these 10 grandmas and these 100 children, and to establish a viable economic base for them in future generations. That has been so incredibly rewarding. It's just as rewarding as my newest client that works with people coming out of prisons to help them enter into high paying careers through technology training, life coaching, and other services. That's all so rewarding because none of these people might be able to access help in as opposed to others who are, you know, more established.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. You know, one of the topics, general topics I cover in my show is how to make money, right? How to make a living. And I invited you because of the power of words and how often that is really key to getting the job, if not the key to getting the job. So I'm grateful that you were able to share that with us and also share, you know, your journey and what inspires you and what makes your work in life meaningful. And so thank you for that, JK. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Nannette. It's a pleasure to have been with you and spend a little time with you and your audience today.
Thank you. And I hope we get to cross paths again. I'm sure we will.
Thank you. Have a blessed day, Nannette.
All the best. Take care, JK.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, our guests, for joining us. My guest is the founder and president of Words and More, and that's JK Langkans. Thank you so much. Until next time, I'm Nannette Nocon.